welcome to the virtual orientation for Early Bird. There's quite a bit of content for this orientation. I'll try and keep it short so that it's not a 15-minute video. So let's hop to it. The order of operation here is chronological. So this video is going to talk about pre-race, swim, bike, run, and then post-race. That's what most of you are doing. Obviously, if you're doing a swim cycle, you can skip the part about the run. If you're doing a duathlon, skip the part about the swim. Pretty straightforward, but let's get started. So the first little comment I have is that Google Maps has not updated this photo yet. This dirt parking lot is where we're going to host the race, but it is not actually a dirt parking lot. It's been freshly paved. It's actually quite nice. But to go in order of operation, bib pickup is always the day before the race. So on Friday, we'll be on site from 3 to 6 p.m. You can come by, ask your questions, pick up your bib. You can see the layout in person and walk around it and get familiar and get yourself as ready as you can for race day. My number one piece of advice, if you take nothing else away from this orientation, is that the best thing you can do is pick up your bib the day before. It's one less thing to do on race day. You get all your questions out of the way. You get to see the layout ahead of time. It makes your evening later that day much easier and much smoother. We're also going to do an in-person orientation. So you're watching this virtual orientation, but if you want to see everything in person and have someone walk you around the course and have someone really bring you to each point of the race to kind of give you all the details, live and in person, we're doing that at 4 p.m. and then again at 5 p.m. So if you want to show up just before one of those two times, you can pick up your bib, ask your questions to our race crew, and then attend the orientation at 4. Or again, show up around, call it 4:40. Again, pick up your bib, walk around a little bit, see all the sights and whatnot, and then at 5 o'clock, jump into the orientation there. The orientation takes usually about an hour, a little bit less, and I think it's really worth doing if it's your first time. If you've done this event before, it's largely similar. Every year we make some small changes based on the feedback from last year, so you're welcome to attend, but we really do recommend that you pick up your bib the day before, or at least attend the orientation. If you don't, you can pick up your bib on race day. That's no problem there. So I'll use my cursor here. If you guys know Ottawa, this is easy for you. If not, I'll walk you through it. This is Bronson Avenue. You turn into Carleton University via University Drive, and there's a roundabout here. We are in this first parking lot called P7. So the race is just over here, just outside of the screen, but you can park anywhere here. It's paid parking, but there's all kinds of QR codes and signs around for how to pay. It's very straightforward. We always recommend carpooling if you can, taking public transit, biking if you want to bike over, get your warm-up done that way. But if you are going to park, it's paid parking, and it's all in here. So for the morning of the race, you will have to pick up your bib if you haven't already. Then you have to get your timing chip. Thirdly is to get your body marking done. If these terms are foreign to you, don't worry. We'll walk you through it all, and it's very systematic. It's almost like a little buffet line. You'll go and get your bib here, then you'll get your timing chip, then you'll get your body marking done. It's all in a very linear progression. And as cheeky as it sounds, just follow the person in front of you. Everyone's going to be kind of flowing through this state, going from bib to chip to body marking. Then they'll go inside the transition zone and they'll set their bike up and their helmet and all their equipment and whatnot. They'll get warmed up. You can use the washroom one last time, get the pre-race jitters out. And then what you'll do is you'll follow this little breadcrumb here. You can either go this way, or they have actually just built this bike path now. Again, Google Maps has not updated it. But you can take this little bike path and make your way to the pool right over here. So this is about, I'm going to say 700 meters or so, this little walk. So you'll be wearing shoes when you go from the transition zone to the start of the race. You'll come down here. You'll leave your shoes outside near the pool. Is inside here. You'll leave your shoes just outside, and then you go inside. And when it's ready to do the race, you'll do the swim. You come out, grab your shoes, and then you run to your bike going that way. But I'll walk you through the swim in a moment there. The last little thing I mentioned here is late registration. At some races, we do allow for registration on site. Race day or the day before, but this event, it's the last couple of years at least, is sold out ahead of time, so we are very unlikely to have late registration, on race day or at bib pickup. So if you or your friends haven't signed up yet, sign up soon before it sells out. So here is the swim course. I'll walk you through it, but it can seem overwhelming in theory. We're going to have a couple hundred people on deck, all lined up, and the goal is that I'll use my cursor again. The goal is that if everyone's lined up on the pool starting here, there's going to be a big queue going down this way and wrapping around the pool. Hopefully, everyone's lined up from kind of fastest going down that way. We have some signs that we'll kind of put in the ground that'll say, hey, if you swim at around a 1:30, you stand here. If you swim at around a 2 minute per 100, you stand here. 2:30, you stand here. 3 minutes, you stand here, so on and so forth. And it's not an exact science, but you want to do your best to seed yourself wherever you think you fit in best. So hop in line near the sign that you think you kind of fit in, and then talk to your neighbors and say, hey, are you swimming much these days? Have you been practicing all winter? Did you skip a few sessions like me? Et cetera, et cetera. And try your best to be honest and fit yourself in where you think you belong. Because the more you spend putting yourself in a good spot there, the less time you spend passing people or being passed by people in the water. So for the 500-meter swim, first person stands here. Everyone else kind of lines up behind them in order of speed. The first person jumps in. And this is where people often get confused. You're doing a 500-meter swim, but you're doing it in 6 lanes. So follow my cursor. So the first lane, you jump in, you have the whole lane to yourself. And the idea behind that is that in the first lane, very easy for your goggles to get knocked off, very easy to overexert yourself or underestimate your abilities. So there's lots of passing potential in this first lane. You have the whole lane. So if you jump in and you think, wow, I'm way faster than I thought. I thought I was, not this fast. There's lots of room to go around people and pass them safely before you get to the wall. Similarly, you jump in the water, your goggles fall off, and now you're in the way. You can go off to the side and people can pass you much more easily. When you get to the end of the pool, you'll do a flip turn or a touch turn, whatever you like. You go under the lane rope and you go back down this way, keeping the lane rope on your right. Touch the wall, you do a U-turn, keeping the lane rope on your right. Go under the lane rope and you repeat that for lane 3, lane 4, lane 5. And then when you get to lane 6, you go under the lane rope for the last time and you have the whole lane to yourself. And again, the idea here is that in that last 50 meters, you might have a bit of energy left so you can pass a few people, or you might be exhausted. You can slow yourself down and catch your breath knowing that you have to get out of the pool and do 2 more sports, and there's room for people to go around you. So that's how the 50-meter swim works. For the 100 meters, it's even simpler. We'll assign you a lane, so we'll tell you, you're lane 1, you're lane 2, you're lane 3, lane 4, lane 5, lane 6, whatever it might be. You all jump in and you all swim clockwise. So you'll jump into the left side of your lane, you'll go up one way and back down the other. You don't go underneath any lane ropes, you just go there and back, doing one big loop, going clockwise. For entering the pool, you can either dive, jump, or just hop in and push off the wall, whatever you like, no problem there. If you're exiting the pool, there's a ladder right here. Otherwise, if you're exiting the pool in the 100 meters, you exit from right here. This is the deep end, so you gotta push yourself out. The other little reminders here on the side, smile for the cameras. We'll have some photographers on site taking some great photos. So if you see them, give them a smile or a thumbs up, or show them your game face, your pain face, whatever you got. And don't forget about bringing those shoes. So when you exit the pool here, you'll exit through a set of stairs right over here, and your shoes will be exactly where you left them. So when you walk down to the pool in the morning and you put your shoes somewhere, wherever you put them is where they will be. So put them somewhere memorable, beside a certain tree, right on the curb, whatever it might be. But we're not going to go out there and start moving all the shoes around. So wherever you put them, don't forget where you put them, and we will make sure that no one else knocks them around for you. So that's the swim. Then you get to the bike. So you've made it to the bike, and it's a 10-kilometer loop. Everyone starts at Carlton U. They bike towards downtown, doing a U-turn at Clegg and Colonel By Drive. Then they come on back. They go almost all the way to Hogsback. It's just a few hundred meters short of Hogsback. U-turn, and they come back to Carlton. That's one loop. When you get here, there'll be volunteers and a bunch of signs and some cones saying, finish this way. Another loop, go this way. Because you're either doing 1, 2, or 3 loops. If you start here, you do your 1 loop, and if you're finished, you just come back into transition. If you have to do 2 loops, you go back and you do a 2nd loop. If you have to do a 3rd loop, you then do your 3rd loop, and then you slide back into transition. Pretty straightforward stuff, but don't forget how many laps you've done, because when you're going at 20, 30, 40 kilometers an hour, if you yell at a volunteer and say, what lap am I on? There's just not enough time for them to go and check the laptop and see what your bib number is and what race you're in and whatnot. So there's a bit of responsibility on you to know how many laps you have to do and how many you've done. But it's a pretty straightforward loop, 10 kilometers per loop. And it's either 1, 2, or 3, so it can't be that hard. But you'd be surprised at how much blood leaves your brain when all your energy is being exerted and you're pedaling really hard. And then once you're back in the transition zone, if you're doing the swim cycle, you've done your swim, you've done your cycle. Once you put your bike back into transition, you just run to the finish line, go under the archway, and that's when your time finishes. So even though it's a swim cycle, you have to run the extra 100 meters or so to get to the finish line, but you have to run 700 meters to get the transition after the pull anyway, so it's not really a true swim cycle. So the run now, you've done your swim, done your bike, you put your bike back, you run out of transition, and you start running along the same course that you biked on. So you're going to go on the side of Colonel by Drive. Part of the road will be coned off for runners. And you go all the way either to the 2.5K run, turn around, and you go back, or to the 5K run and point and turn back. So a point of clarification, just to make sure this is clear, we get one person every year that makes this mistake. If you're doing the 5K run, you start at the transition zone, you run all the way to where it says 5K turn here. Every year one person gets to the 2.5K and they think, okay, if I'm doing a 5K, that's 2.5K times 2. This must be the 2.5K turnaround that I then do to get back to a 5K. The math isn't quite right on that. So when you turn here, it's only if you're doing a 2.5 kilometer run. If you're doing a 5 kilometer run, you go all the way to here, do a U-turn, and you come on back. And that's it. After that, you've done the early bird triathlon or duathlon or swim cycle or the run. We'll usually do some non-alcoholic Libra beer at the finish line. We've got snacks. We'll do an awards ceremony once most of the field is done. And all of the photos and results are available at somersault.ca. You go to the top, click on results, and that's where you'll find photos and results. If you have any questions, let us know. It's adam@somersault.ca. Otherwise, I look forward to seeing you on race day, or better yet, the day before for bib pickup.